What's happening, everybody? All right, so a lot of talk about Mopars being stolen lately. I've had a couple of guys reach out to me asking me specifically what I've done to keep my car in my garage. So I want to talk about what I've done to my car, but I also want to talk about some other things that can be done that will help to mitigate your risk as a target for a thief. So let's get into it. First things first, if you have a car that has a push-button starter that relies on a key fob and a radio frequency to start it, you need to get yourself one of these. This is one of those Faraday pouches you probably already heard of. And the way that this works is that your key fob fits down into the caged part of the pouch. When you close that, it keeps the radio frequency from exiting the pouch. And what that radio frequency being kept in the pouch does is it keeps it from getting out into the world, where a thief with a repeater, it's called a radio frequency repeater, can copy that and then fool your car into thinking that that person has legal access to your car through the key fob, when in reality, it's just a clone of your key fob. So Faraday pouch is your first line of defense. Get used to putting your fob in that pouch and it just becomes second nature after a while. Second thing that I've done to my car is I've had my RF hub bricked from the factory. And what the RF hub is it's the contraption in the car that reads the key fob. And if you have that RF hub bricked, what it means is that you can no longer program other keys to your car. So if you lose all your keys, you have to have a new RF hub installed in your car and programmed with factory hardware and software to make your car accept keys again. So you can't just break the glass, get into the star connector, and program a key. You can't do that with my car. So that's a second line of defense. Now, it doesn't mean that my key fob can't still be cloned. That's why I mentioned this first as a first line of defense. Even though you can't break into my car and program another key to it, you can still clone that fob. So just remember, if you have had your RF hub bricked, or you have one of the later cars where that hub has been bricked from the factory by request, it just means that you can't steal it easily by busting into the car and getting into the star connector with, again, specialized hardware and software that these thieves have. You can't do that. You can't program a key to it. It just won't accept it and the car won't start. Now, third thing that I've done to my car is in my tune. You guys know that I tune all my own stuff. Well, what I can do with the Hellcat, and really with any of these cars with an active valet mode, meaning that the valet mode actually adjusts throttle, fuel, and everything else to reduce power, well, I can actually render my car undrivable in valet mode, meaning that I can make the car do whatever I want it to in that mode. And the way mine works is it will only start and idle, but the second you put any pressure on the throttle, the car will die. So trying to load the thing on a trailer is going to be a bit of a trick. And that's assuming that you've gotten through the fact that my key fob is in a pouch and my RF hub has been bricked. How you got the car started at this point would be a mystery, but if you did, this is what you're going to be up against. A car that simply will not move under its own power, aside from being able to maybe idle the thing around. No high-speed chases here. And the thing about it is that there's no way really to defeat that unless you have tuning software, all of the credits, and everything else that you need to break into the car, but you would have to be able to turn the car on and have it in run to be able to program all of that anyway. So you want to talk about a headache. That would be a massive headache. So again, another line of defense. A fourth line of defense. I did get one, make sure I put this up there right, so I want to give him some credit here. Destroyer 1320's neutral safety cutoff switch, or safety cutoff cover, I should say. And what that does is it disallows a thief to easily be able to break into the car and pull the neutral safety switch. These cars don't have a true cable going to the transmission, and so there's no way to just put the car in neutral if you lose power to the car. In this case, it's a mechanical connection, and the way that a thief would get the car to move if they couldn't have any other way to get the car to move would be to put or force it into neutral. this disallows that, or at least makes it incredibly difficult, or certainly not that easy to pull everything apart and try to get the cover off. And by that time, you spent way more time than you would ever want to spend on site as a thief, breaking into the thing to try to get the thing just to push the car somewhere. Major headache, and it would definitely slow somebody down enough and would be enough of a deterrent once they figured out, which would happen extremely quickly if they're looking for that neutral strap. Once they figured that out, they would be, oh, screw this, I'm done, I don't want to mess with this. Now, chances are they would have broken into your car to get to that point, so you got to deal with broken glass and some headaches, but at least you would still have your car. Now, those are the tips and tricks, at least, that I have employed for my car to remain my car. Now, that's a lot. That's actually quite a few things that are going to keep my car, or to help, I should say, keep my car safe. But there are other things. Things like kill switches, or the removal or the repositioning of relays and fuse boxes, things like that. When you have a situation where you have a car that is this desirable, you're going to be putting that car potentially in harm's way if you are not paying attention to where you're leaving it and what you're doing with it. So if you have the opportunity, make sure that your car is garaged. Don't leave the thing outside, because no matter what you do to try to keep the car from being an easy mark, that just the fact that you've left the thing outside makes the car an easy mark. So at night, try to keep the thing indoors. There are parts like brake pedal locks or clutch pedal locks that will not allow the brake pedal to be depressed, which means you can't start the car. There are ways that you can do the same thing with a clutch pedal on a 6-speed car because the clutch has to be depressed or the car will not start. So there are things you can do. Again, the kill switches, the pedal locks, the removal or the relocation of the relays. You can put an OBD2 lock on the car, which basically just is a cover over the OBD2 port that disallows any interference with the CAN bus. No matter what they've got, now they've got to deal with a lock that they've got to get through. Again, anything you can do to slow a thief down is going to get them off of your property as quickly as they got onto it. And that's the idea if you're a thief, is to get in, get your property stolen in the bag, whatever you want to call it, and then get off the property. And if there's anything that's going to hold you up, move along to the next mark. Now, I know of guys that like to say, well, I've got a GPS tracker, I've got GPS trackers on my car. That's great, just as long as you're getting law enforcement officials involved. Don't try to take on or go after thieves on your own. It's a horrible idea. I mean, you're talking about people that are breaking the law for a living. Usually those folks will not mind breaking other laws to not be put in jail. So again, give that information to local law enforcement. Don't try to take that stuff on your own. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Again, my car, the Pouch, the Tune, Destroyer 1320s cover, RF hub bricked, and then of course you've got OBD2 lock, you've got the pedal locks, you've got removal or replacement, I should say, of relays. Those are some things that you can be an active participant in that will keep your car, at least hopefully, as a proud and happy member of the family, as opposed to being just another bit of scrap in a junkyard once these guys get through cutting it and chopping it. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope that helps you out. Post up your comments. Let me know what you've done to your car to help keep thieves at bay. And with that, that's a wrap. Adios.